The night the enemy king stepped into her dreams, the war changed. Flames devoured the sky above the holy city of Lemuria. Black smoke curled like living serpents. And in the middle of the chaos stood a man crowned in shadow, his eyes glowing like dying stars. "Come find me," he whispered. Aria Whitmore woke with a gasp, holy light bursting from her palms and scorching the stone walls of her chamber. The prophecy had begun. Lemuria had trained Aria since childhood to become a weapon of divine magic. The High Council called her the Blessed Flame, a priestess infused with ancient celestial power. Her light could heal the dying or reduce demons to ash. Across the continent ruled their greatest enemy, King Lucien of Noctira, a sovereign of dark sorcery, a man rumored to command shadows like soldiers. His armies had conquered half the realm, leaving cursed lands and broken kingdoms behind. Light versus shadow, mercy versus dominion, and Aria had just been chosen to end it. "The prophecy is clear," said High Priest Maverick, his voice echoing inside the cathedral of stained glass and silver. "The Girl of Light will pierce the heart of the Shadow King." Aria stood tall in her white battle robes, though her stomach twisted. "And if I fail?" "You won't." But that night's dream haunted her. Lucien's voice hadn't sounded cruel. It had sounded lonely. 3 days later, Aria crossed into enemy territory disguised as a traveling healer. No armor, no escort, only a silver dagger forged from blessed steel hidden beneath her cloak. Noctira was nothing like she expected. There were no screaming wastelands, no rivers of blood. The capital city shimmered under moonlight, Gothic towers, lantern-lit bridges, people walking freely beneath protective shadow barriers that shimmered like dark glass. Children laughed in the streets. This wasn't the kingdom of a monster. It was thriving. Aria's chest tightened. "Where are you hiding, Lucien Dareth?" She didn't have to wait long for answers. The palace guard seized her within hours, her divine aura impossible to fully conceal. She was dragged into the throne room, its ceiling painted like a night sky swirling with living constellations. And there he was, King Lucien Dareth. He was younger than she imagined, dark hair falling loosely over his forehead. A crown of black iron rested lightly against his head, almost carelessly. But his eyes were endless midnight. The air around him pulsed with restrained power. "So," Lucien said calmly, leaning back on his throne of obsidian and silver, "the blessed flame walks willingly into my kingdom." Her breath caught. "You knew I was coming?" "I've known for years." A flick of his fingers dismissed the guards. They were alone. Aria subtly pressed her hand against a hidden dagger. "Then you know why I'm here." "Yes." His gaze softened, not fearful, not angry. "To kill me?" Silence filled the vast throne room. Aria stepped forward. "You've conquered sacred lands, corrupted forests, spread shadow magic across the continent." Lucien rose slowly from his throne. The shadows in the room shifted with him like loyal wolves. "And what did your council tell you about why?" She faltered. "They said you crave power." A faint smile touched his lips, not amused but tired. "They always do." He walked closer. Aria's heart pounded, holy magic heating her veins. If she struck now, she could end the war, end him. But when he stood inches away, she felt something impossible. His darkness didn't burn her light. It responded to it, like two halves of something ancient. "You've been dreaming about me," Lucien murmured. Her breath caught. "How do you?" "Because I've been dreaming about you too." The shadows flickered violently around him. "There's no prophecy about you killing me, Aria," he said quietly. "There's only a prophecy that if we fight, both our kingdoms fall." Her pulse roared in her ears. "You're lying." "Am I?" With a wave of his hand, the ceiling above them shimmered, transforming into a vision of the future. She saw Lemuria burning. She saw Noctira collapsing. She saw herself, kneeling beside Lucien's lifeless body, her own chest pierced with shadow and light entwined. The vision vanished. "Silence. You and I are bound by older magic than either kingdom understands," Lucien whispered. "If you kill me, your light dies with my shadow." Aria's grip on the dagger trembled. Everything she believed in cracked. "I should strike you down right now," she said weakly. Lucien stepped closer, so close she could feel the cold warmth of his power against her skin. Then do it. Their eyes locked. Light flared in her palm. Shadows rose around him. The war could end in this moment. But her heart, traitorous and confused, refused to move. And for the first time in her life, the blessed flame hesitated. The moment Aria lowered her dagger, the war shifted. Golden light slowly faded from her palm. Lucien did not move. He did not attack. He did not even breathe. He simply watched her, as if her choice mattered more than any army outside those palace walls. "You hesitate," he said softly. Aria stepped back, heart racing. "Show me the truth." A dangerous request. For a second, something vulnerable flickered in Lucien's eyes. Then he lifted his hand. The throne room darkened, not with threat, with memory. The air shimmered, and a vision unfolded between them. Years ago, Noctira had not been a kingdom of shadows. It had been a land of scholars and night mages who studied celestial balance. They did not worship darkness. They controlled it, until Lemuria attacked first. Aria's breath caught. White-armored soldiers marched under banner of holy flame. The High Council accused Noctira of practicing forbidden sorcery, of summoning demons. They feared what they did not understand. Lucien sat quietly beside her. The vision shifted. Young Lucien, no crown, no throne, stood in the ruins of his burning city. His parents lay dead at his feet. The sky above cracked with unstable magic. Aria felt her knees weaken. "That was not in our records," she whispered. "It never would be." The memory darkened further. Desperate to protect his remaining people, Lucien entered the ancient catacombs beneath Noctira. There, chained in an abyss of living shadow, was an entity older than both kingdoms, the Umbral Heart, a sentient core of primordial darkness. "If I bind to you," young Lucien said in the memory, "you will protect my people." The shadows responded. They consumed him. Aria gasped as black veins spread across his skin, power flooding into him. Terrible and magnificent. "You made yourself a monster," she whispered. Lucien's voice was steady. "I made myself a shield." The vision dissolved. Silence filled the throne room once more. "You could have ruled peacefully," Aria said, though doubt crept into her tone. Lucien shook his head. "The Umbral Heart requires balance. It feeds on conflict. If I stop conquering, it turns on my kingdom." As if summoned by his words, the shadows around him twitched, almost alive. Aria felt it now. The darkness inside him was not entirely his own. "You're not in control," she realized. A faint smile. "Not completely." The air thickened. For the first time, she sensed the truth beneath his calm exterior. Lucien Dareth was dying. The bond with the Umbral Heart was slowly devouring him from within. "And the prophecy?" she asked. Lucien stepped closer again, lowering his voice. "The prophecy does not say you will kill me. It says," he continued, "the light-born priestess will either cleanse the shadow or merge with it." Aria's pulse thundered. "Merge! If you bind your magic with mine, the Umbral Heart stabilizes. The war ends." Her stomach dropped. "And what happens to me?" His silence was answer enough. She would no longer be fully light. She would carry shadow within her. Lemuria would call her corrupted, a traitor. "You're asking me to lose everything," she said. "I'm asking you to save everyone." The shadows stirred violently, as if angered by the conversation. Suddenly, Lucien stiffened. A sharp breath escaped him. Black cracks of magic spread across his neck like fractures in glass. The Umbral Heart was reacting. It sensed her light. It felt threatened. "Leave!" Lucien growled suddenly, stepping back as shadows lashed around him. "Now, I'm not afraid of your darkness. You should be." His eyes flashed completely black. The throne room trembled. The entity inside him surfaced, vast and ancient. The shadows no longer moved like loyal wolves. They moved like chains. Aria's instinct screamed. Holy fire ignited around her body, forming a protective barrier as tendrils of shadow lunged toward her. Lucien's voice echoed through the chaos. "Run, Aria." But she didn't. Instead, she stepped forward. Light surged brighter than ever before, golden flames meeting the black tendrils midair. The collision exploded in a shockwave of blinding brilliance. For a heartbeat, the Umbral Heart shrieked, a sound that did not belong in this world. And then Aria felt it, a thread, a thin strand of connection between her magic and his. Not violent, not destructive, balanced. Lucien collapsed to one knee as the shadows recoiled. The throne room steadied. Breathing hard, Aria rushed to his side. His skin was pale. The black cracks slowly faded. "You stabilized it," he whispered in disbelief. Aria stared at her glowing hands. Her light had not burned the shadow. It had soothed it. Hope flickered in Lucien's exhausted eyes. "There is a way," he murmured. "But the ritual will bind us permanently." Aria's heart pounded. Before she could respond, the massive palace doors burst open. High Priest Malric stood at the entrance, flanked by elite Lemurian knights blazing with holy fire. His gaze locked onto Aria kneeling beside the Shadow King. Disgust twisted his face. "So the rumors were true," Malric hissed. "You've already fallen." Aria rose slowly. "I came here to end the war." "And you will," Malric declared coldly. "By finishing your mission." Dozens of holy spears formed midair, aimed directly at Lucien's heart. Lucien, still weakened, struggled to stand. Aria stepped in front of him. Golden light flared around her like a rising sun. "No one touches him." The knights hesitated. Malric's expression hardened. "You would betray your own kingdom?" Aria's voice trembled, but not with fear, with truth. Light and shadow pulsed behind her in fragile harmony. And for the first time, she chose him. The first spear of holy light flew before anyone could speak again. Aria raised her hand instinctively. Golden magic burst outward, shattering the spear into sparks that rained across the throne room floor. The impact echoed like thunder through the palace. Behind her, Lucien struggled to stand. "Aria!" "Don't," he warned weakly. "If you fight them, there's no going back." Her jaw tightened. "There was no going back the moment I learned the truth." High Priest Malric stepped forward, his white robes glowing with divine fire. His expression was no longer disappointed. It was furious. "You were chosen to purify the darkness," he said coldly, "not stand beside it." Aria's voice trembled, but her light burned brighter. "You lied to me. You started this war." Murmurs spread among the Lemurian knights. Malric's eyes narrowed. "Everything we did was to protect humanity. By destroying an entire kingdom?" Silence answered her. Lucien finally rose behind her, shadows swirling weakly around his body. "Leave, priest," he said quietly. "This isn't your war anymore." "Oh, but it is," Malric replied. He lifted both hands. The air cracked open with holy energy. A massive sigil of light formed above the throne room. Ancient, forbidden magic Aria had only seen in sacred texts. Her blood ran cold. "Judgment magic," she whispered. Malric smiled faintly. "Even a Shadow King can die under heaven's law." The sigil began to descend. Lucien's shadow surged upward to resist it, but his strength faltered. The Umbral Heart inside him reacted violently. Sensing annihilation, darkness lashed wildly, cracking pillars and shattering glass. The palace trembled. If the spell landed, it wouldn't just kill Lucien. It would tear apart everything within miles. Aria realized it instantly. He'll destroy both kingdoms just to win, she thought. Her heart pounded as she stepped forward into the falling light. "Aria, stop!" Lucien shouted, but she already knew what she had to do. Golden flames erupted around her, brighter than ever before, not as a weapon, but as a shield. She reached into the fragile thread, connecting her magic to Lucien's shadow. The moment she touched it fully, pain exploded through her body. Light and darkness collided inside her chest, fighting for dominance. She felt Lucien's memories, his grief, his loneliness, the endless weight of ruling through fear to keep his people alive. And he felt hers, her childhood in the temple, her faith, her fear of becoming something unforgivable. Their magic intertwined violently. The descending sigil slowed. Malric's expression shifted from confidence to alarm. "What are you doing?" Aria screamed as power surged through her veins. Her once pure golden light now carried streaks of silver shadow, twisting together like two flames refusing to extinguish one another. "I'm ending this," she said through clenched teeth. The sigil shattered. A shockwave of balanced magic blasted outward, extinguishing both holy fire and raging shadows at once. Silence fell. The throne room stood intact. Malric staggered back, disbelief in his eyes. Impossible! Aria dropped to her knees, gasping. Her magic felt different now, heavier, deeper. Lucien caught her before she collapsed. "You shouldn't have done that," he whispered, though relief filled his voice. She looked up at him, weak but certain. "Now the Umbral Heart can't control you alone." He froze, because he understood. She had shared the burden. Half of the darkness now lived inside her. The palace doors burst open again, this time not with soldiers, but with terrified messengers. "My king," one shouted, "Lemurian armies have surrounded the capital." Malric smiled despite his injuries. "Your people will fall tonight." Lucien's eyes darkened, rage flickering beneath the surface. The Umbral Heart stirred again, sensing war. Aria grabbed his hand. "Don't," she said softly. "That's what it wants." Outside, horns echoed across the city. The final battle had begun. Lucien looked at her, conflict tearing across his face. "If I don't fight, my people die. And if you lose control," she replied, "everyone dies." The truth hung between them. There was only one way left. "The ritual," Lucien said quietly. Aria nodded. A full binding. Light and shadow permanently joined. It would stabilize the Umbral Heart forever, but it would also bind their lives together. If one died, the other would follow. No escape, no separation. Malric laughed weakly from the floor. "You think your kingdoms will accept that? A priestess bound to darkness? A king ruled by light?" Aria met Lucien's eyes. "I don't need their acceptance." Lucien's hand tightened around hers. "For the first time," he said softly, "I don't feel alone." Outside, explosions of magic lit the night sky. The war had reached their gates. Aria stood, silver gold light radiating around her, shadows moving calmly at her feet. "Then let's end it together." Lucien nodded, but as they turned toward the battlefield, neither of them noticed a faint crack spreading across the throne room floor, a whisper from the Umbral Heart itself. It was not dying, it was evolving, and it did not intend to share its power forever. The war began with fire. From the palace balcony, Aria watched Lemuria's holy army clash against Noctira's shadow guards. Golden explosions tore through the night. Black magic roared back in violent waves. The sky itself seemed split in half, light against darkness. And beneath the throne room, the Umbral Heart awakened. A deep crack echoed to the palace floor. Lucien stiffened beside her. "It's breaking free." Aria felt it too, the ancient entity no longer content sharing power. It had tasted her light. It wanted all of it. The ground shattered. From the depth below the throne room rose a massive vortex of living shadow, tendrils twisting into a colossal, beating core of darkness. The Umbral Heart no longer needed Lucien alone. It had evolved. A voice older than time thundered across the battlefield. Balance was never the goal. Soldiers on both sides froze as the vortex expanded, swallowing holy fire and shadow alike. Malric stared upward in horror. "What have you done?" Aria stepped forward, silver gold light blazing around her. What should have been done long ago? Lucien grabbed her hand. "If we complete the ritual now," he said quietly, "there's no undoing it. If we don't," she replied, "there won't be a world left to undo." The Umbral Heart pulsed violently, ripping magic from both armies. Knights fell. Shadow mages screamed as their power drained into the growing storm. It was feeding on war. Lucien turned to her, eyes softer than she'd ever seen. "I was prepared to die alone," he whispered. "I never imagined I'd find someone willing to stand in the dark with me." Aria smiled faintly, tears burning her eyes. "You're not standing in the dark anymore." They stepped into the heart of the vortex together. Pain unlike anything Aria had ever known tore through her body. Light exploded from her chest. Shadow roared from Lucien's veins. The Umbral Heart shrieked as the ritual circle ignited beneath their feet. Ancient runes of both celestial and umbral origin merging into one unified sigil. The battlefield disappeared in blinding brilliance. Inside the storm, Aria saw everything. Centuries of fear. Generations taught to hate, what they didn't understand. The first lie that began the war. The Umbral Heart had once been a force of natural equilibrium, neither evil nor good. But human fear had twisted it. Both kingdoms had used it to justify control. It had grown corrupted by their hatred. And now, it wanted freedom from both. "You don't need war," Aria whispered into the storm. "You don't need to consume us." Lucien wrapped his arms around her as shadow and light spiraled outward from their joined hearts. "We choose balance," he declared. The Umbral Heart lunged at them, vast, monstrous, desperate. Aria did not fight it. She opened herself fully. Her light did not burn. It embraced. Lucien's shadow did not dominate. It steadied. Together, their magic wove into something new, neither holy nor dark, a radiant twilight. The Umbral Heart's roar weakened. Its monstrous shape shrank. Its power condensed into a single pulse between them. Then, silence. The vortex collapsed into a small, glowing core hovering in Aria's hands. No longer raging. No longer corrupted. Balanced. The sky cleared. The battlefield stilled. Both armies stared in stunned quiet as Aria and Lucien descended gently to the palace steps, silver gold auras shimmering around them like dawn meeting night. Malric dropped to his knees. "It's gone." Aria shook her head softly. "It's free." Lucien looked across the battlefield, not as a conqueror, but as a king. "The war ends tonight," he declared, his voice echoing across both armies. "No more light against shadow." Aria stepped beside him. "No more lies." Slowly, weapons lowered. The holy flames dimmed. The shadows receded peacefully. For the first time in generations, neither kingdom attacked. They simply stood. Weeks later, a new treaty was signed between Lemuria and Noctira, not as enemies, but as allies. High Priest Malric was removed from power. Truth spread among both kingdoms, uncomfortable, painful, but necessary. Aria never returned to the temple. She stood beside Lucien instead, not as a weapon, not as a prisoner, as an equal. The once Shadow King now ruled with tempered strength. His darkness no longer consumed him, and Aria's light no longer stood alone. They were bound, heart to heart. If one fell, so would the other, but neither feared it anymore, because together they had already faced the end of the world. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and twilight painted the sky in silver and gold, Lucien pulled her close. "You were sent to kill me," he said softly. She smiled. "And you were supposed to be my enemy." He brushed his forehead against hers. Instead, she whispered, "we ended a war." Above them, the sky no longer split between light and dark. It blended, just like them. And for the first time in history, the girl who loved the enemy king was no longer a tragedy. It was a beginning,